Greeting, friends. Your cartoonist pal Stan here. I've decided that's my new intro. Your cartoonist pal Stan. That's me. Here for another episode of Random Encounters, show where we take random encounter tables, like the kind you find in tabletop RPGs, like Dungeons and Dragons, and use them to create unguessable. All right, there's not so many choices. You could kind of guess them all, but for the purposes of argument, unguessable combinations, and then I draw them for fun. And hopefully, if maybe you've got some pencil or paper or drawing pad around, you can draw them too. Again, for the fun of it. Welcome to the first show of the new year. 2024 has zoomed on in. Crazy, huh? I can't believe how fast 2023 went. Which, nothing makes me seem older than saying that. But yeah, it was a good year. It was the year that we started Random Encounters. Haven't quite gotten to a full year yet, but we're more than halfway there. And I'm still enjoying our gatherings every Thursday. So I'm looking forward to an entire year of it stretching ahead. Yeah. So having said all that, I guess I don't have any other bits of business to catch up to. Hello, Dale Donovan. Um, and Cindy, I'm expecting. Hello, Linnea and Gus and Dave, I'm expecting. Yeah. So I guess we're ready to get started. Do our first random encounter of the new year. So let's have a look at what's going on here on the. Well, I'm going to say before I do that I'm doing all of this drawing on an iPad Pro using an Apple Pencil and the app Procreate. None of which are sponsors. There is no sponsorship on this show. Not that I'm against it. I just don't have any. Maybe one of these weeks we'll have a sponsor. Who knows? That wouldn't be terrible. Um, but for now, no. I just use them because I like them. You can use pencil, you can use crayon, you can use ballpoint pen, you can use paper, you can use a whiteboard, whatever. Just draw. Just draw for the fun of it. You don't have to draw what I'm drawing. Draw whatever comes to mind. Maybe we're looking at things and that'll inspire you. You get an idea. Crazy that happens. You get an idea, try drawing it. Anyway, let's have a look here. Let's see what's going on. This is our encounter tables for our show here, for our first show of the new year. We're going with a wintry theme, uh, and I'll try and pull some other themes as we go forward. I wasn't quite sure. I wanted to sweep out the most of the new year. So the New Year's resolution there at number 2. That's that you need to be in the new year to use that. But all the other holiday stuff is out until the end of the year, though we still have wintry themed things. So, having said that, let's see what the dice choose for us to be drawn first. The first one, we're going to once, twice, third time is a 2. And it's for the who. 2 for who 2. And the what is once, twice, third time, a 1. All right, so a 2 and a 1. What does that give us here? That gives us a centaur. I put centaurs on there even though I'm really not that good at drawing horses, but I want to challenge myself. I also want to show you that it's okay not to be great at drawing something and just draw it anyway. In fact, that's the only way you're ever going to get better. So we've got a centaur shoveling snow. All right. We'll turn off the tables now and come to the sketch layer. Using blue ink for my sketches, I like to do that. I've explained why a lot, but based on habit, back from when I was working on physical media. And I'm using the inking brush, the Studio Pen inking brush. All right, so we've got a centaur shoveling snow. Now my first thought is it would be fun to have a centaur shoveling snow by having a plow, but centaurs pull plows, and pulling plows for snow is not terribly effective. Hello, Lala. Welcome to the chat room, and thank you for joining us. So, I'm not so sure about a centaur pulling a plow. The that I mean, that sounds like fun, but it just doesn't work out. Maybe I mean, if we had a centaur, let's zoom in here. If we had a centaur with a plow attached to the front of it and pushing snow like that, that might work. But that's it doesn't look very snowy. Oh, what the heck. It's a joke. So we're going to have centaur, of course, is half man, half human, half uh, horse. Give him a scarf. Let's see what can we have going on here. I don't know. If we move him to the other side of the page, then we can have something going on behind him with an open road. And I don't know about that. I was going to draw a cart or a car. Not loving that that visualization, but there we go. We'll just have a road behind him. Hope everyone had a good holiday season. Did you all do anything fun and exciting? I know some of you have been in the other um, live streams I've done this week. Did you draw anything during the holidays? There we go. I don't know if this is going to wind up being the... Some of these gags turn out to be gags that can be used elsewhere. I think this one is just for fun here, which again is quite all right. All right, so we're going to go to a new lab. We're going to go to a lines layer. We're going to start drawing our centaur, and I think I'm going to start here with the earmuffs. Always start, as I say, with something that you're feeling confident of, so that you know you got something that's probably not going to change for you to build the rest of the drawing around. And there's a lot going on there that I'm not 100% confident of. But this hat and the earmuff section, I'm feeling pretty safe with. Dave says, in the olden days, they would shovel snow onto the roads for the sleighs. Yes, well, that makes sense. Today, I believe today is actually National Trivia Day. Might have been yesterday, but that's a good piece of National Trivia Day trivia, Dave. All right. I say sometimes the the drawings we do here wind up to be useful to me. I can make a a sticker or go back and redo them as a fully rendered out cartoon, potentially even trying to sell them somewhere or publish them somewhere. But sometimes it's just drawing of an idea that the dice have given us. We're not here for, to try to monetize this. We're here for fun. Go. A little bit of a chunky horse end, but you want to pack on those pounds for the winter. Keep yourself warm. I'm thinking, in the end, if I could think of a way to imagine this so that putting a car to where putting a car behind this or a line of cars behind this would seem um, appropriate, right? Where someone just coming to this without having the advantage of knowing why we're drawing it, then we'd have a joke that could be reused. That's the that's a test that I put when I draw something and I think that's funny, or if it's either just something I think up, or say we're having a during gaming, someone says something funny, or I draw a picture of something, and it seems funny. The test I want to put it to is if someone wasn't there, does this joke fall into the "you had to be there" category? Because if it does, then that's fine, but then you got to remember that it's just for you. And I think right now, this drawing falls into that category. And if I were to stick a car behind them, it might be a little funnier, but it wouldn't get it out of that had to be there category. I'm gonna draw some folks here making the snowman. I don't remember if making the snowman was on my list, though. I may be jumping ahead of what the dice are going to tell me to do later. If I do, then I guess these are the guys who are going to be drawn later. We'll just have to give them more details. Maybe not, because if we have to do it, I'm going to do something more interesting with the snowman than just have it be a standard. 3-ring humanish snow man. All right, but there we go. That's looking good. We got a centaur shoveling snow, or in this case, really plowing snow. If I turn off the sketch layer, we can see what we've got. See if where I might want to add a little extra in to make this easier to read just as a line drawing. Yeah, I'm thinking about what I was saying just a few minutes ago about that test of the "you had to be there" test. It's a tough thing when you're doing drawings, when you're drawing cartoons that you do want to share. It's a it's a real kind of I don't know. You have to be firm with yourself. You have to be hard and realistic with yourself about the do you have to be there, right? Because there are a lot of things that really are very funny if you were there, and just don't make a lot of sense if you weren't. I believe that this is going to be something like that when we're done, and we're going to put in some colors on this. We're going to switch over to the gloaming brush, which I like to use. Gives me that marker-ish, crayonish coloring style. And we're going to come in and use the style. I've talked about this a little bit before with uh, this kind of tool, whether you're doing digitally or at home. You can look at the thing you're coloring and try to imagine the shapes that make it up, the roundish shapes, and color in those roundish areas and leave the spaces between them. And it just kind of gives the finished piece a sense of depth that it wouldn't otherwise have. Go. I'm going to use a green for the scarf. Go in and add a second color to that. We'll come back and use a blue for the hat. Just randomly, not randomly, but I'm picking colors quickly, just thinking I want to add some colors to this so it feels, because the background is going to be a lot of white because of the snow. We'll just add a few other colors in here. Oh yeah, and I want to have gloves. He's got to be wearing gloves. It'd be very silly not to wear gloves. Use a grayish blue to get the idea of steel, of metal. And then we're going to use a bright blue for the color that we're going to use to accent the snow and give it a sense of being more than just flat. We talked about this before. You can create the illusion of different colors Like here, the most of the plow and the snow in the background are the same color, but by putting that gray on the plow, it feels like a different color. Adding these little details are ways to trick the viewer's eye and get yourself some extra detail for free. And let's go back again. Want the road to look asphalty. Why? I don't know. Just to make sure that we sell the idea of what that is shoveling. All right. Very nearly done here. We're going to put some colors on our snowman. We're going to give our people working on it greenish skin. Little goblins out there. Everyone's wearing blue hats. There we go. And we've got a. I'm looking at things I can add now. Just quickly, what if I go back to my drawing brush? And if I add a little speed, not really speed, but motion lines to show that our centaur is plowing. I also can put a little motion lines on the snow to make it seem like it's rolling off because he's moving along so quickly. Forget, you can draw over things you've already drawn too. You can put the speed lines over the top of the centaur's body. That helps to sell the idea that the front part is moving as well as the back part. All right, that's looking good to me. I will stick a little stand at the bottom here and say we have a centaur shoveling, plowing some snow. Good first drawing for day back, for first day back. The gag might not be great, but I think the drawing's pretty good. So let's take a little break here and see what's going on in the chat room. Not a lot. Dave says you'll have to have the plow in the background. Oh, if I do the drawing of the snowman, yeah, for sure, 100%. If we put the snowman, if the dice give us a snowman, that plow is going in the background. Nothing like a good repeating joke. Yeah. So, what was the best gift y'all got over the holiday season? Maybe the best gift was a chance to sleep late every day. That was a pretty good gift for me. I had a friend. I just got. In fact, I didn't get a lot of gifts this year. I got a lot of cards, which really is what I want. I want to hear from my friends. I don't. My family doesn't exchange gifts much anymore, and so that's all right by all of us. But that means I don't have a lot to talk about gifts. But I had a friend uh, from the South who sent me a Star Wars sushi dish set. So it's got a plate and a little cup and chopsticks with Star Wars themed images on them, which was pretty cool. Totally unexpected, and a terrific gift. So thank you, Shinobu. Um, the gag should have been that the centaur was Henry Cavill. So Dave, what Dave is referring to is, as I said earlier, I've done some live streams earlier this week. I'm taking part in something called the Caricature Resolution, which is sponsored by the um, International Society of Caricature Artists, where they release a list of 31 uh, relatively famous people, often celebrities or artists, sometimes politicians, sometimes people from history. And the idea is to do a caricature drawing a day. And I've taken that on for the second year in a row because I like caricature, but I'm not great at it. I'm okay. I'm pretty good at it. I don't want to say I'm a bad caricature artist, but I'm an unreliable caricature artist. Maybe that is the best way to say it. I'm unreliable. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's less good. Occasionally it stinks, but that happens to everyone. So I've been doing that every day, and on some days I've been doing live streaming while I do. So if you enjoy this show and you want to see me do something else, check out on my YouTube channel. I try to put it in the schedule at least 12 hours in advance if I think I'm going to be live streaming. But, if you check, that's where all of this subscribe and click the bell thing comes in. If you do that, you'll be told when I go live or when I put up a new video. More importantly, in this case, when I go live, so you can join me and, uh, you know, go through the caricature drawing with me. I'm talking about a lot about how to think when you're doing a caricature, because from everything I've learned, the most important skill to develop is not the drawing skill, though that certainly is a close second. The most important skill to develop if you want to do caricatures well is your eye. You got to develop a good eye, ability to look at a face, look at a person, and see what's there and what is the important parts and how you can exaggerate or de-emphasize, either overemphasize or de-emphasize parts to make a drawing that is deformed a little. It's out of norm. It's not normal proportions, not normal, but it still looks like them. It captures their essence. So how you think is the most important thing, and it is a thing that maybe takes even longer than the drawing part to learn. You've got to practice and practice and practice. So I'm doing that. Keep an eye out for that. All right. Having said that, it's time now. Oop, no, I don't want to do that. It's time now to go on. Blah, blah, blah. See, I'm stalling as I do this. All right, now it's time to do our second drawing. We've had a centaur shoveling snow. Let's see what the dice have for us in our second drawing. So we'll come back here and we'll roll. Once, twice. Third time is a charm. We got 3 for our who. And once, twice, third time, 1. 1 was shoveling snow, wasn't it? All right, I may need your help here figuring out what we're going to do for here. So 3 is a beholder. We could have the beholder also shoveling snow. Maybe that's our secret for this week, is everybody shoveling snow. No. What could we have the beholder doing? Looking here at the what's, I see I don't have making a snowman. That'll be on next week. Maybe that'll go in the number 1 slot for next week. We could do making a snowman. What do you think? What would you like to see us have a beholder doing here for our second drawing? Hanging out with friends and scribbling is a great mental break, says Linnea. It is. We could draw a beholder doing some drawings. That could be our theme for this. But I'm looking to you guys. We've got the Lemons, and we've got Dale and Cindy, and we've got Lala, and I know looking here, we've got other people who are watching and not chatting, which is a-okay. You're not going to force you to come out, but if you've got some ideas for what we might draw this time, we've got a beholder, and for those of you who don't know, maybe that's what's holding you back. A beholder in Dungeons and Dragons is one of those creatures that's just one big eye, big central eye with eye stalks coming off it, and they fire different magical effects out of each of those eyes. You don't need to know that part, but beholder is a big eye creature, big floating eye. So let's see what we got. What are we going to do? We have building an igloo or a snow fort. Not sure what works great with a beholder. Yeah, come on, folks. Let's go. Let's have some fun. Beholder, just putting a snow hat, putting a ski hat on a beholder is kind of funny to me. We could send him skiing. We could, if we like the snowman idea. Here's an idea. I'm gonna turn off our list here and go to the sketch, because it's easier to show than to what a disintegration ray would sure come in handy with the shoveling. Yeah, I know. We did the shoveling or plowing. The beholder could have taken care of that in one big zap. But if let's zoom in here. If we had our 3-pronged snowman, what if the bottom layer was a beholder? Or maybe the middle layer, so that each of the eyes stalks could that's one idea. Icicles hanging, catching snowflakes. Snowflake, we had a beholder looking up, sticking his big old tongue out. We had a cyclops catching snowflakes before. That worked pretty well. We can repurpose that, give it to the beholder too. Each of the eye stalks could have a little hat on it. This sketch here is feeling kind of fun, and the one with the snowman is. It feels like there's more to that story, right? That feels like it would. That's a punchline to a multi-stage joke. All right, I'm digging this catch a snowflake, so I think that we will go here with that. And the funny part is that I can see this so well that I don't really have to add a lot more in the way of sketchiness to get ready for it. We could have, different eye beams. One could be zapping a snowflake. I have someone else catching a snowflake over here. And who could that be? Think about that. We can make that anyone we want. Who is this beholder catches snowflakes with? I want to see some ideas there in the chat room as we move on, but I'm going to jump over here and start drawing our beholder. All right, beholder, we're going to start. Now, I usually start with the eye on the beholder. But in this case, I'm going to start with a mouth because, uh, well, it's kind of draw to show you. Like if we just any old thing, the beholder it's round, it's a sphere, right? So I know that the eye is going to be like this. But in this case, our beholder is looking up. So the eye is going to bend more, and knowing where the mouth is going to help me figure out where to place the eye. So that's what I'm feeling most confident about is if I draw the mouth, then that will help me with the guides for the other things I need. Beholders. Got fangs and adventurers. Well, I mean, it's just going to be one here, so who do you want? You want that to be one of our go gnome or go home rogues? Should it be a fighter or a paladin kind of character? Whoops, I'm on the wrong layer. It's telling me already that I made the mistake I don't want to make, and that's drawing on the sketch layer, not the lines layer. Okay. Thankfully, we hadn't gotten far. I did that last time with the werewolves doing the polar bear plunge. And I got all the way through it before I realized that I'd done my drawings on the sketch layer. So there was nothing I could do about it. Oops. I did not close something out there, and the line escaped. There we go. Okay. No, this one is too small. When you're filling something in black, you need to draw anything that's going to be in there a little larger than you might normally, because when the black fills in, when we look at these teeth, we assume that the black that is the line outside it is part of the tooth. But when we fill the whole space in with it, it swallows up that line, and so that suddenly makes the tooth smaller. And anytime you're drawing something that's going to be filled in with black, you need to, in an area of the drawing that's going to be filled in with black, you need to keep the same thing in mind. All right. There we go. Beholder is looking up. I just looked up and I saw Calvin and Hobbes as adventurers. That's funny. It's been a long time since I drew Calvin and Hobbes. I mean, even for my own fun. Might have to give that a try, but let's put a bunch of ideas up there. I'm going to give each of the eye stalks its own little knit cap with pom-pom. Maybe some of them, not all of them, will have pom-poms. We'll see. There we go. that. And now is the time for me to put the hat on, the big hat on the big central body of the beholder. Here, we've seen this one more from the back. That now, beholder has 10 eye stalks. We don't have to see them all. That's the thing that I've had people come up to me sometimes after I've drawn a beholder and say, "Hey, you only drew 7 or 8 um, eye stalks. You didn't get it right." And I say to them, "Well, some of them are behind the beholder. They're not all just sticking there right in the front." The only thing you have to be careful about is drawing too many. If you draw too many, you can't take that back. You don't want this guy to be looking up also. See how you now put one back here. We don't have to show the whole thing. Put it in and shade it in. The same thing over here. Maybe this guy can have a baseball cap on. There we go. How to, I have a tough time with snowflakes. I like people who, I like artists who can draw nice symmetrical snowflakes. Mine always come out looking like weird science projects. All right, that's looking good. So let's see what's going on here in the chat room because it's time to start thinking about that other person in the snow with the beholder. Who we got here? Adventurers. Uh, um, Practicing Ibings. We got that. Calvin and Hobbes. Okay. Calvin-esque snow goons. We're getting back to that the snowman thing from earlier. Man, those Snow Goon cartoons that Watterson did in Calvin and Hobbes were so funny. I marvel at just the number of ideas that he came up with over the years for ways to make the snow goons that Calvin would create. And then on top of that, his skill at drawing them. Just the concept themselves, brilliant. All right, so what do we got? Crafty Bitches, done. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Equal representation, the mutant beholders with extra stocks. Yes. All right, so I've got to come back to the sketch layer again this time because I didn't put enough in there. So I'm going to erase a little here. I had a little goblin-y guy there just based off what we did earlier. So what if we've got someone like this. And he's holding a toy tiger. So we'll get the Calvin and Hobbes idea, even if my drawing is not especially Watterson, true to Watterson in design. There we go. All right, so we'll come back to our lines layer and we'll add him in and then do a quick coloring on this and go from there. All right, so say it's fun to everyone. In fact, everyone I know who ever got good at drawing started by copying someone else, and I never copied Watterson much. I was already doing my own cartooning by the time Calvin and Hobbes came around, and so no insult to him at all, but I never copied from him because I was already doing my own stuff. But even even professionals I know sometimes go back and find people whose work they like and copy it. And maybe I should spend some time doing that with Watterson. Maybe I should do the thing I've never got around to doing and teach myself how to draw Calvin and Hobbes in the true Watterson kind of way. It's not like I don't already have enough going on in my life. I don't need to give myself new assignments, new hobbies, but that would be fun. I'm going to consider doing that maybe just for an afternoon or an evening. There we go. All right, I'm going to turn off the sketch layer now. See what we've got going on here. It's looking pretty good. Be more intent. Gotta, when I find myself doing scribbly lines, I know that I'm just not being intentional enough with my drawings. or with what I'm drawing at that moment. The you hide confusion in scribbliness, or I do. You want your lines to go down with conviction. All right, that's looking good. Let's just put a couple more things. Maybe we'll put that snowman from before still in the background. So we know that this is all taking place in the same field. I want to make sure that we've got some little bit of extra detail around the eyes and cheek here. All right, looking good. Let's throw some color on there, and we'll have wrapped up a second drawing for the evening. So go to colors again. I'm gonna switch over to that gloaming brush. Now start with the beholder itself. Different different eras of D&D have drawn beholders with different colors. Sometimes they're kind of brown and leathery. Sometimes they're green or black. Sometimes different beholders are just different colors because they're completely magical creatures. Given my my druthers, or given a time when there's no real right answer or wrong answer, I tend to pick green. A pale green, not like a dark green like you might get for an aquatic creature, and not a bright green like you might do for your average kobold or a goblin or orc. This kind of not quite grayish green. I guess I think about it as I said brown, leathery brown, but I kind of think of it as a leathery green. All right, there we go. And we're going to make sure I get all the eyeballs. Again, you see how I've used the coloring to define shapes within the larger shape. I'm going to go for purple for the tongue. You'll see me do that a lot too on D&D creatures. Here again, you see, by doing that, I left that space in the middle of the tongue white, and it doesn't look like it's missing something. It just helps to give that idea that the tongue is two-lobed. It gives that idea of a shape beyond just the flat shape underneath. All right. We need to come back here. Yellow's a fine color for an eye, for a beholder eye. It's a little sickly and unnatural. Now we're going to go and do some colors for the hats. So we're going to give all different colors of hats. So let's start with an orange hat for the big guy. Now here, with those shape things I was talking about, I have two options. Well, I have multiple options, of course. But I'm treating the rim and the cap of the hat as two separate things. And by doing this with that shaped color I'm talking about, I've created that idea that they're different shapes and they lie next to each other. I could, I'm going to erase all that for, I guess I'm going to have to redo it. I could put each of these shapes within it, give it its own thing, and that gives them that ridged, lumpy feeling. Do the same thing up top. Maybe we'll save this, do it this way. And so by not just filling in a big, massive block of orange, I've added some implied detail to my drawing. All right, so let's go with we're going to go now to blue. Maybe this guy will have a blue hat. And maybe this guy will also. We can double up. Let's go with a pinkish. Go. Maybe there. Red for the Santa stocking cap hat. No, I think we'll give the pom-pom there red. And I'm going to actually switch those up, use those same colors. It's a pom-pom of orange. The hat in the back. The baseball hat. Maybe a green, a darker, brighter green like that. So it doesn't look the same as the color of the cobalt of the beholder's skin. There we go. Looking good. And now we'll deal with Calvin and Hobbes here. No, that yellow's not right. It's amazing. No, it's not really amazing. You can start to trust yourself. Particularly if you're drawing digitally, where it's easy to change things. But even when you're drawing and coloring on paper, trust yourself. You put something down and it doesn't feel right, let it go. Take it out. Erase it. Move on. Don't worry about it. Red. And we'll give him a brown coat. And we're going to come in with a pink tongue. And we're going to go back to that light, bright blue for highlights on the snow. Maybe a little darker than that. It's just not showing up enough. There we go. And I want to come in and add a little extra. We talked, besides the coloring of that shape coloring, we talked about adding little implied shadows by taking the color that you've already got there and a little darker version. Digitally, you can actually make it a different color. With crayons or markers, you can often do that just by pressing a little harder. Here, I'm going to put a little You pick one side of your creature that light is coming from. In this case, I very often choose the upper left, and then take areas that are on the lower and right side of shapes, and just put a little line of that darker color. Creates the idea of a shadow, which just gives your drawings a bit of extra life. There we go. Oh, no, what I didn't do was draw this I-beam. Zap! I'm adding just a little touch of that blue color to all of the snowflakes. There we go. And if I come back here to my lines layer, go back to my inking brush and my black ink, I can put a stand down in the corner, and we've got a beholder catching snowflakes on its tongue. That looks like a fun way to spend a winter's day. All right, so how are we doing here? Things going good, and I see there's been a little bit of chatting when Dawn came in. Let's see. One of the stocks should have a Doctor Who scarf. That, well, you know, if I had read that earlier, story of my life. Okay, good job, everyone. All right, let's do one more and wrap it up for the week. We've had a beholder catching snowflakes. We are going to come back here, close that up, get ready for the next one, and reopen up our encounter tables. Gonna reopen our encounter tables and go back to the dice one more time to see what our next and final drawing will be. So we got once, twice, third time. A 6 is our who, and which we know is adventurers already. Once, twice, third time. A 2. Did we do that? No. New Year's resolution. Wow. That's a big idea. That's a really big idea for one drawing. If we'd had that as our first drawing, we probably could have done the entire day on New Year's resolutions, one each for 3 different adventurers. But our subject here is adventurers, New Year's resolution. Let's think about that. Thinking about that. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to turn off the tables, go up to the sketch layer. We're ready to go. I'm going to put that down as we think. Adventurers, New Year's resolution. What would an adventurer resolve? Kick in more doors, gather more treasure. I mean, we could make this really a straight up, like a one-panel comic, and at the top we could just write New Year's resolutions for adventurers. And then we could draw, let's let's just put very rogue. One here, and then a halfling or a gnome here, of course, where we'll get our punchline out of. So what we could, so what I'm thinking here is we could have a fighter. What do I want to do? I want to grab these. Oops. I was doing something else earlier and freehand and what's the, I don't want add to be on. Copy and paste. Yeah, okay, good. So I want to grab these here. And I want to move them down. Oh, I didn't want to copy and paste. No, I didn't. What's that looking here? Delete. No, not duplicate. Delete. Delete. So don't. Maybe I do want to add. Okay. Oh, this is one of those times when I'm just maybe moving faster than my moving so fast that my brain isn't catching up with it is what I'm trying to say. And then we could have a fighter, a wizard, and a rogue. And I think our fighter is going to be standing here proudly saying something. And our wizard, or maybe we'll have it be a cleric. And it could be sitting there looking all pious and saying something. And then our rogue maybe I don't need to be saying it. Here, I'm thinking out loud while we're doing this. So it could be fighter, be braver, be more heroic. Cleric could be more pious. And rogue could be don't steal from the other party members. And our rogue could be over here stealing something from the cleric and saying, well, not as much anyway. Like that. There we go. There's the joke. Now I just need to draw it. All right, again, I'm going to zoom out a little so I can grab the characters themselves, drop them down a little lower in the picture. Probably take the rogue's word balloon. Well, I can do that later. I'll probably drop that down lower also. But let's go with that. That's our gag. Wow, this really is one that if I thought of it last week or last about a month ago, I could have tried to sell it somewhere. As it is, I may draw it for us here and then stick it in a drawer to try and take around and find a home for it next holiday season. Dave says, yeah, maybe next year. Exactly. Exactly. All right, so we're going to come here. We're going to go to our lines layer, and I'm going to make this happen quickly. Now, one of the things I could do is, well, one of the things I will do when I do this for real is instead of doing hand drawing, hand lettering, I will use, I'll drop in some fonts. But for now, I'm just increasing the size of the brush so I can get something that looks like a larger font. Drop it down a little. And we're going to say fighter. Hmm. Let's put fighter in a slightly emboldened font. Font, he says in air quotes. Fighter, be more heroic. Cleric. Be more pious. The other thing I'll probably do is work on rewording that a little. Pious isn't quite what I want there. We'll figure it out. The rogue. Don't steal from the other party members. All right. And then I'm going to very quickly. So now we're going to do very quick versions of these characters again because this is a quick drawing show we're doing. I'm not trying to teach the whole kit and caboodle. We're trying to come up with an idea. If anything, this is like trying to teach you how to do Oh, what's the game? Um, where you draw stuff. The game, the game where you draw stuff. Um, Pictionary. Thank you for helping me out there, Dave. My brain was not going to serve up Pictionary to me. Hmm. I just gave him a gnome nose, but I think I want to make him a halfling. There we go. And our gnome can be saying, well, not as much anyway. Let's do that again. Let's go for the whole thing and then stick tail down there. Okay, if I turn the sketch layer off, let's see what that leaves us with. Now is the time where I can come in and add a little extra just to make this work a little better. Change that nose a little. Just add a couple little details like this, and it takes away that feeling that it was done hastily. Just want it to feel like it was done on purpose. The clerics may be a little tougher, but not impossible. The rogue's also a little tougher, just because there's less to work with and more posture going in there. Mm. Let's change that up a little, just a little. All right. What do I want to do here? I want to grab the. I'm looking at this. I can see the rogue one looks a little smaller than the other, so I'll grab it and make it larger. Recenter it. There we go. New Year's resolutions for adventurers. And that's looking. Oops. That's looking done. Drawing wise, let's throw a little bit of. He looks like Fry. He does look a little like Fry. Unintended, but true. Okay, let's quickly add some colors in here and then wrap it up for the evening. Only a few places where we've got open flesh showing, so we'll go in there. We're going to take, I was talking about before, for metal, we're going to take a grayish blue, put that there. I'm going to take a second, slightly darker grayish blue, and it makes it feel like a suit of armor. And then this kind of creamish, off yellow for the gloves. Highlights in gold. There we go. Now our cleric. Magenta is the color we're going to go here. With highlights in bright green. And darker green to add that sense of depth. Red hair? Why not? Take a light tan color for their pouches that are rogue with a darker brown leather cat suit. I don't know that this leather armor, this particular arrangement of leather armor, I think, for me, goes back to third edition Dungeons and Dragons. That this is what the iconic rogue Lita was always shown wearing. And then maybe some orange hair, which of course doesn't take away from that Fry comparison. There we go. And we've got New Year's resolutions for adventurers. And I'm going to put my name on it because I'm proud of what I do. Even when it's goofy and quick and sketchy like that. There we go. New Year's resolutions for adventurers. So there we go. We had a pretty good evening here. We got 3 quick cartoons done. At least one of which, possibly 2 of which, I may reuse in next year's holiday season, if I remember. We've got New Year's resolutions for adventurers here. We've got a beholder catching snowflakes on his tongue. And we have a centaur shoveling, or in this case, plowing the snow. Centaur's snowplow. So there we go. Pretty good. Pretty good way to start off 2024, I think. So I want to thank you all for joining me, those who are here currently and those who were here throughout the hour. And if you're watching this on replay, I want to thank you too. I really appreciate everyone stopping in and joining me. I hope that even if you're not doing it live with me, maybe when this is done, you've got some ideas and you go and do some drawing yourself. I think that last one in particular shows what one can do just quickly. So you don't have to put the kind of detail that I sometimes do into it. You get a funny little drawing, and you exercise your brain and have some fun doing it. This kind of sketchy drawing is a good skill to have, and it's also a fun thing to do just for you. So I'm gonna turn that off now, and once again say thank you for spending an hour or so with me. If you want to see more that I do, you may want to stop by my Instagram. Also, which is at Stanex is the username, Instagram.com/Stanex, STANNEX, which is going to be my username at most social media. So if you're looking for me on Facebook or X, although I don't go there anymore, most places I will be Stanex. You can look for me there. And all of these drawings and all the other drawings that I do for public consumption will go up on that Instagram, so you can catch it there. If, however, you are feeling that you really are digging what I do, you want to be more part of it, get some behind-the-scenes stuff, and have me deliver all of the drawings I do to your inbox for you to consume and enjoy on your own, well then, you may want to join my Patreon. Come and be a member of the Patreon community. There are different layers, of course, and you can join for free. But the free level, I really don't send much out to the free level. But for just about all the other levels, I send, for just about all of the paying levels, I send out emails with roundups of all the art I've done. So even if Facebook or Instagram or whatever, Blue Sky, doesn't show you a piece, you won't have to worry about missing it because I'm going to make sure you're covered. And at various levels, you get other perks like behind-the-scenes videos or stickers and holiday cards sent to your home for you to enjoy and have and keep for reals. So, yeah, if you like this kind of thing, give it a thought. I'm not going to push it, but think about it. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'll be back next week at this same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, with another hour plus of improv cartooning with episode 38, maybe 38 already, of Random Encounters Live. So I hope you'll join me then. Until then, thank you very much. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you throughout the upcoming year.